That's okay. We're just doing the attendance. And I don't see anybody else right now. So, in the room, we have, Allison Kapikoski, Senior Director of HR. We have Chuck Nickerson, our Finance Director. We have Leila, in the Commissioner's Office. We have Commissioner Godu, and myself in the room. So, we're gonna start with RFP openings and award for the single door blanket warming cabinet.
Yes, I move to authorize the Senior Director of Long-Term Care Services to review, evaluate the proposals and return with the recommendation.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Skilled nursing facility mock survey.
Move to authorize the Senior Director of Long-Term Care Services to review, evaluate the proposals and return with a recommendation.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
Commissioner Coyle,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Motorola mobile radio, Solette from the Sheriff's Office.
I move to award the proposal to Motorola Mobile Radios and Consulate to Two-Way Communications Incorporated of Portsmouth, New Hampshire for an amount not to exceed $31,546.27 as recommended by the High Sheriff.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
Commissioner Coyle?
Yes.
I vote yes. On to consent agenda.
So there's the meeting minutes. I move to approve the February 16th, 2023 public and non-public meeting minutes.
Motion's been made,
Second.
seconded. Any discussion on that motion? On the motion, Commissioner Coyle?
Yes.
Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
And-
Okay,
For the remainder, I move to approve the remainder of the consent agenda, which includes accounts payable list total of $2,336,520.92.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Coyle?
Yes.
Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
And I vote yes. On to reports. I'll go to Commissioner Godu first.
I have nothing to report from, my liaisons, except that I would like to make a request that, I know that many or some of the, department heads, DDOs,
ODDs.
ODD,
Thought it was
all right,
good.
I'm getting close with the acronyms. Are writing up weekly reports, and that was emphasized this week with a report that we don't normally get. That was sent by Chuck. I'd just like to request that when those reports come in on a weekly basis, that they're distributed to all the commissioners. So that we can read them. We don't need to wait
Yeah.
for someone else to read them to us at the meeting. I'd like to take a look at whatever any department head
I
is
don't have a problem with that.
reporting.
I will admit there's sometimes I don't submit reports just due to the, Yeah.
My point is only if
I
you
just wanna
do,
let you
I
know.
just like to see it.
there are times I don't
Commissioner
get.
Coyle, give anything?
No, that's no issue at all.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to Commissioner Coyle.
Sure.
Believe-
So, go, yes. So, with respect to long-term care, renovations are starting in early March on the assisted living community room. There was a compliance committee meeting last week. COVID is an ongoing issue, and I'll talk about that both with respect to long-term care and Department of Corrections. We had 2 residents, one in assisted living and one in long-term care test positive, and 4 staff members. Significantly, and I guess there's some overlap with some of the legislative stuff, the governor has proposed licenses and regulatory reforms under House Bill 2. I don't know if anybody's taken a look at that, but one of the proposals is to repeal licenses for LNAs. That is significant because, well, it's significant to us because we will still need LNAs at the nursing home because of CMS requirements. But what it does, I think the impact to us potentially is that it could reduce, because the demand for LNA actually, licensed LNAs will be significantly reduced. It might increase our employment pool. So I guess stay tuned. Over in the Department of Corrections, the population is at 140. There is an open COVID unit because of a number of inmates either coming in or, you know, a little bit of spread there. We have we're making some progress on MOUs, and the superintendent's in discussions. There's some potential that we could have bring in ICE. We'll see. There might be some revenue source coming down the pipeline. We'll see. Over in finance, another busy week as usual. The ERAP list is down from we are over 500, and now the number is down to about 465. Included in that number is the 300 cases coming over from the CAPS program, from the state program. So those are still in the process of being worked. And that's, you know, we've come down from over 500 last week, and that's significant because there's still new people coming in. Hopefully last week, you guys will remember, we approved getting a temp position over there, and it looks like an individual is scheduled to start on Friday. We have, and I'm sure Commissioner Chiricello, you're part of this, union negotiations are starting. We're awaiting FEMA monies from fiscal year 22 for materials project, and waiting a notification for fiscal year 21. That could be a total of, you know, upwards of $600,000 to the county. We also have a walk-in today for a grant application, and that grant application could be beneficial, potentially suicide prevention cells, potentially, though it doesn't look like that for HVAC. But and there's you know, some of the import of this is we have some of the money that we had put from ARPA for projects could go to the, you know, could be paid for by these Gopher grant. And if we do that, then that money can be diverged to, you know, sent to, you know, for instance, the building or other places. So it is significant to, when we're getting in these grants, sort of the ongoing puzzle pieces that fit together to, as you know, impact our funds for the building. And that pretty much sums up my report.
Thank you. For me, I have, I just lost my train of thought, I'm sorry. Jude did send me a nice long list, but I'm gonna let her, under the, when we go to the department heads, mention what she's got there. I did want to mention that I was on a, the negotiating teams, we've done the initial meetings for the two unions. One is the building and maintenance union, and then the other one is the sheriff supervisors. Is it dispatch too? Supervisors, right?
Sheriff supervisors.
So we've begun those initial stages, and we're gonna get into it hot and heavy fairly quickly, because some of the union heads are vacationing, so they've got like a short opportunity. So we're gonna be on a marathon meeting here very soon. So the other thing that I want to share with you is I did jump onto a webinar with sponsored by the nonprofits in New Hampshire, but put on by Senator Shaheen's office. She's actually requesting for, I don't know what the right terminology is, but they're basically earmarks. Okay, and she's done it before, and they call it something else now, I forget what it is, but I did jump on that just to see what was available, what could be available, how we could apply if we wanted to, and I thought that was interesting. So I'll share that with, I think Chuck knows, but they had mentioned some programs that we were already on. Is it SAM? Where you've got to set up the county.
Oh, we're all set as far as being eligible from that standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.gov registration, we're all set.
Yeah, so as Commissioner Coyle mentioned, you know, this could be something where if we did apply, we applied for solar money, the solar money that we put aside also we could use for the building or other things as well, so, it's something to think about, but, that's what I have, so. Let's move on to. We got a motion to unseal some January 5th meeting minutes.
Right, this is relation, there were two topics in non-public for, the January 5th the non-public minutes. I moved to unseal the January 5th Board of Commissioners non-public minutes as it relates to session number 2 only.
Motion's been made,
Second,
seconded. Any discussion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes,
Godu,
yes,
I vote yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to inmate administrative transfer pursuant to New Hampshire RSA 30-B:21.
I move to approve an inmate administrative transfer dated February 17th, 2023 for an inmate received from Hillsborough Department of Corrections on February 12th, 2023 pursuant to New Hampshire RSA 30-B:21 as recommended by the superintendent.
second,
Motion's been made and seconded. For discussion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Godu,
yes,
Commissioner Coyle,
Yes,
I vote yes. Okay, now we're on an out-of-state conference approval.
I move to approve an out-of-state conference and travel for a Department of Corrections employee JM to attend the National Jail Association AGA Objective Jail Classification Training held March 14th through March 16th, 2023 at an estimated total cost of $3,520 as recommended by the superintendent of the Department of Corrections.
Motion's been made.
second,
Seconded. Any discussion? If not, we have discussion, Commissioner Godu?
seems like a lot of money for a conference, $3,500. How many people are going?
This is.
One.
Henry?
One person's going, but hotels aren't cheap out in Vegas, plane rides or anything else, so it's cheapest we can get.
Okay,
Fair enough,
further discussion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes,
Commissioner Godu,
yes,
and I vote yes. Human Resources, Allison Kowalski, to discuss the Indeed job board.
Yeah, so, as you know, we had talked a couple of meetings ago, with the board, Autumn had presented on what she was doing for job boards. And, Commissioner Godu had mentioned that he had seen a reference to,
Vermont.
a remark that was maybe not as polished as we'd like to see out there. So what she did is she went back into our Indeed account and she learned from that we had a number of different accounts that have transpired over the years prior to her. Some departments had set up some on our own. So in doing that, we did find that there are some remarks in there, but what we did decide to do was Indeed mentioned it would probably be better for us to pull them all under our Rockingham County account that we have now. And then she is going to submit a request to have them look at the remarks from the different accounts that were out there. They have a legal thing that they go by to determine what might be an appropriate spam, defamatory content, or allegations of illegal activity. And then they would determine which ones could come off or not. Some may stay, and if some of those do stay, then we'll work behind the scenes to kind of get some comments out there that are more relevant to current 2023 about how we're doing and that. So we may do some reach out to certain folks and ask them if they'd like to do a remark out on our Indeed account to kind of, then it'll just keep pushing those farther back down in.
Yeah.
So, yes,
I did notice that some of the comments were a couple years old, actually.
yeah,
And I just want to point out, for the record, as we all know, when I was elected, Commissioner Coyle was first elected. Long-term care was a 2-star from Medicare. We're now a 5-star. Things have changed. We've got department heads that are new. Processes have changed. So, I just want to point that out. Not that, not that we're perfect or anything like that, but I think we've seen a lot of positive steps over the last couple of years, so. Just want to point that out. Some of those are a little bit older, but.
all right. And also there are more than, we are not Rockingham, we are Rockingham County of New Hampshire, but there are several other 2 or 3 other Rockingham County accounts from different states. So we just tried to get it all looped under one now going forward. So
Yeah.
it'll show differently, but that's what she's gone ahead and done, and hopefully we can get some of those not
Okay.
so nice ones off our account.
Great.
Thank
Anybody else want to touch base on this subject? If not.
I think
Commissioner Godu?
it's great that we should encourage, our current employees that are pleased with what's going on to, comment.
Mhm.
We should flood that with,
Mhm,
asking everybody to
mhm,
make a comment. I love working here. They don't have to say a lot.
right,
Good idea. All right, let's move on to request for use of ARPA project funds expenditure category 1.4 approval. And I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve, sorry, I was on mute. I move to
all.
approve use of ARPA project funds expenditure category 1.4 for the purchase of personnel protective equipment for two PARP respirators in the amount of $4,894.68 as recommended by the Senior Director of Long-Term Care Services.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion on this?
Just a quick question, was this part of anticipated use of funds?
So this is part of PPE allocation for masks. We have some individuals that failed the OSHA required fit testing for the N95 mask, and these are not alternative approach to that.
Oh, great, okay.
Further discussion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Godu?
yes,
Commissioner Coyle?
Yes,
And I vote yes. So, okay, we're gonna go to the department heads. I'm gonna start with Chuck first. Chuck Nixon. Sorry.
Just obviously very busy. We the weather kind of threw a little bit of a monkey wrench into a larger ERAP run for today. But as a result, I think the one that we do in the early part of the week, as in next week, this case, will be a bit larger than normal. But that one was still 70,000+ this past week. So still total, I think, from what Jesse Tonnery said, we should be approaching $1 million, I think, this month
Thanks.
for assistance going out. As was mentioned, by you, Commissioner, that, we, along with Allison, negotiations is starting to really kick off now, so that's, good news. Obviously a reminder for just all departments, March, if you haven't done so, please start thinking about your budget. March 31st is deadline for department budgets to be submitted in Munis. I know that some departments definitely have already been working on it because they've asked some questions, so. The request I have as far as a grant goes, I don't know how much we're gonna really be able to avail ourselves of it, but there's a gopher, which is the governor's office for fiscal recovery and reinvestment or something like that. Well, it's, alphabet soup things, but basically up to $350,000. It's for emergency equipment that should be at least somewhat related to responding to COVID. I want to talk to someone at Gopher to see exactly what what is applicable.
Yeah.
I know that definitely we at least have somewhere around $10,000 worth of things that we can. But if in any way, shape or form, the suicide prevention stuff can be included to some extent, then that could be like almost another 100,000. So it's worth asking at least. And if the suicide prevention items could be going towards this grant, then that would actually, again, turn money back into the overall ARPA pool as well. So, so some good news there. Again, just continuing busy with grants, budgets, just all sorts of things we continue to have, to move forward on meetings with HR, with going forward for the UKG upgrades. So we're proceeding with that. And it'd be really exciting when we're able to see really a demonstration of some of our information in UKG and Kronos Pro and Dimensions.
So nice. Very good. Allison.
Mr. Chairman, before that, I'd like to I'm gonna make a walk-in motion
Okay,
with
go ahead.
respect to the Finance Department, and I move to authorize the Senior Director of Finance to apply for a grant on behalf of the county under Gopher's County Emergency Equipment Program, and authorize the Senior Director of Finance to sign all necessary documents on behalf of the county.
second,
Motion's been made and seconded. On the motion, is there further discussion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes,
Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Thank you. Okay, Allison.
Like Chuck said, we're really in the depths of implementation. Like we had mentioned before, the Human Resource Department is gonna move forward with the benefit open enrollment, so we are really gonna have to hustle a little bit on that. I might be bringing forward the benefit stuff from Gallagher if I can sooner, because it will definitely have an impact on getting the system set up, because we still have to go into test before we could go live with that. So more to come on that. Negotiations, we are well underway with our negotiations for the sheriff supervisors, and I have locked in a date for the engineering and maintenance. That would be, I think, on March 7th, if everybody can attend. So I'll finish that. PCNs are in preparation form for the MOUs for the Department of Corrections. We're just starting to print those off and get those situated. We're preparing, like I said, for the benefit renewal. Census has been sent over. I'll be talking to the broker about, you know, just some trends and some other ideas that we had already talked about with the board, to kind of get him nailed down on what I'd like to see come forward. Regrades and other items for the budget. I have everybody's department now, so I'm just starting to work on information that will have to get pushed back out to the department heads for them to maybe do. Budget, we're working on the budget, recruitment, working on that. And we did some wage analysis. Chuck and I were working on some wage analysis for the budget for the different departments, for the board to look at and kind of give us guidance on that.
Very good.
So there's a lot. Chuck and I are
Busy,
tied
busy.
to a lot of budget stuff right now. Yes,
All right,
thank you.
Commissioner Coyle.
yes, there's one, another walk-in with respect to human resources, and I move to approve, and that's with respect to the stipends, just tying up some loose ends. I move to approve weekly stipend payments of $270 for the lieutenants and assistant superintendent of the Department of Corrections from February 12th, 2023 through June 17th, 2023, and further to approve continuation of the pickup bonus for lieutenants and the assistant superintendent through June 17th, 2023.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? If not, on the motion, Commissioner Coyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
I vote yes. Thank you. All right, let's go to, I'm gonna go to Sheriff.
Mr. Chairman, one
Yes.
more thing. Before we go to the sheriff, I just want to actually do a shout out to the sheriff, which is Northwood PD needs some help over the weekend. I called the sheriff and to Superintendent Henry too. And it's two things. One, the PD needed some help, and the sheriff, I called the sheriff on Sunday and he was extraordinarily helpful and coordinated, and also the superintendent. What we're seeing is both in terms of it had to deal with a arrestee who was at the hospital and needed help with coverage. And what was so evident is that both the sheriff's department and the Department of Corrections really stepped up to help the police department out, but also work together to make it happen. And so just a special thanks to both of them. So.
Great. That's very good. Teamwork's always good. Like to see that and hear that. Sheriff, it's all you.
Thank you, Commissioner Coyle. I mean, it's very important. If you've seen over the last 4 years, especially with Jason Henry being the superintendent, how we really work together as a team in law enforcement. It's very important for my office and especially his office. I mean, if they're jammed up and they can't do something, we're gonna go down to give them a hand. Same thing with us. So teamwork is the key to success, and I appreciate the comment. We have a new deputy that's getting sworn in on Monday. We have a full-timer that retired and decided to come back part-time. We're working on some backgrounds on some dispatches, so it's looking pretty well over here. And that's it. Enjoy the weekend.
Well, thank you, Sheriff. Superintendent Henry. Morning.
Good morning, everybody. Same with the sheriff. It's great that we get along and able to do these things. After he got a call, he called me and we worked this out. So, the sheriff will tell you, as we see, the local PDs are very much struggling. And So they're reaching out to, well, both of us to see what we can help with. And when we can, we will do the best we can for them. So this is one of those situations. So I had DHHS come in here recently to do a tour of how we're doing our cleaning and all that kind of good stuff, because they have a grant that encompasses a lot, to put it that way. They're looking at some PPE stuff for us, possibly some disinfecting wands, all kinds of stuff at no cost to us to be signed off for us. They may be sending one of our officers out to the NCCHC conference, who we get certified through for our medical, to get some enhanced training on cleaning and those kinds of things from an officer perspective, which they will be able to share here and at the other jails as well. All paid for by them. They're looking maybe even sponsoring a some sort of conference because they have money to do that. So I'm working with them. That might be coming down the pike again. They've got a lot of money to spend on how jails are cleaning and how they can help the officers, and in turn how the officers can help the inmates. So that was good. I did have ICE in here, immigration, this week, and there was preliminary talks of what it would look like if we did take in some immigration holds, as my 230 pages of regulations that I'm trying to go through to make sure that it's all stuff we can do. So far, it doesn't look too bad, but it'll be an ongoing discussion, and then I'll be coming to you with more details that we made it, which discussion deeper as I go into this. But it's a good opportunity for the county and the jail. Debit release. So it's been an ongoing project for the jail for a while. Is debit release system. So when inmates come in with money, used to be in the old day, they come in money, put in a lockbox. If they're leaving quickly, we can back their cash. If they're staying, it's got to be taken to the bank, deposited. And a couple of years ago, we have a machine. The money goes into the machine, and then when they leave, they would get a check sent to them. Now the next step is, which is starting this week, is we're not dealing with cash anymore. Cash goes in a lockbox. When they leave, they get a swipe card, which has all their money on it. And because in the past, when they had like 7 cents in their account or something like that, they would say just keep it, which causes a problem later because we don't write checks that are under $1, and we have to hold on to that money and keep their account open for 5 years, because then all that money has to go to the state for lost funds. That won't happen anymore. So no matter what you have on there, they're going to zero out their account. They get that debit card, no cash, don't have to worry about it, and life's going to be easy. It's going to be so much simpler for staff. Very excited that starts this week. And beyond that, still continue to interview and hire, and that seems to be going in a positive direction. So thank you very much.
I have a question.
Commissioner Godu.
If we take in immigration holds, do we get paid for this? Is there a stipend from the US government if we?
Yeah, it's all a negotiation, but yes, you get paid for it for taking them in. And again, and just like when we take in or we send people to other places and stuff, all part of that is they still have to pay all the medical bills. They still have to pay all those ancillary costs. They still take care of, and then you would get a fee for housing each one of them per day.
So that's potential new revenue.
Right, exactly. I just had a quick question for you, Superintendent, and the sheriff as well. I was kind of quite surprised to hear that in New Hampshire, fentanyl test strips are actually illegal. When I was out in DC, they were talking about the use of those so people can identify what's in these knockoff pills, but what do you know about that? We don't use those fentanyl test strips. We don't have.
Was that fentanyl test strips on the side of the road? You can't use them. I'm not sure, but we use test strips in here to see what the stuff is. I mean, we've never had any issues with it. I don't know, Sheriff, if that's something you can't use on the side of the road or what that is.
No, I'm not sure. So, I mean, we can check into it, but
Yeah, I was in the Union Leader this morning. It was interesting, but anyway.
Is
All
it
right.
illegal or inadmissible?
No, they're saying it falls under the paraphernalia laws, so maybe they're working on it, and maybe there's a carve out law for law enforcement, I'm not sure, but probably should check.
I think the bills that they're drafting up right now is they're in the committee form right now, so I know the New Hampshire Chiefs of Police, even the Sheriff's Association, We're working on that to see what's going on, but to give you an exact answer, I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, and they were talking also about the animal sedative that they're mixing in now that doesn't respond to morphine. And really, it's really, from what I read, is really nasty stuff. I mean, it does bodily damage to people.
Well, they're talking cocaine now, where they're mixing fentanyl into the cocaine, because cocaine looks like it's starting to come back a lot, so now you don't know if it's just regular cocaine, and you can't, you OD on that, Narcan's not gonna save you, so.
Right,
but
well,
that's-
well, I guess we further discussion, when we start to talk about how we're gonna utilize opioid money, but, we'll
And I'm
discuss.
looking forward to that, I'm looking forward to that meeting, because there's a lot of
Yeah.
good things that we can do, and, the superintendent can do to try to, get these drugs off the street, try to help people with, mental, illness when it comes to these drugs and stuff like that, so looking forward to those meetings.
Right? Okay, let's go to Jude Gates. Morning, Jude.
Morning, everyone. I just want to say, like Allison, I do not always put my briefing in writing. Quite often I have a conversation with Commissioner Chiricello, or we have a conversation and then I just send him a few bullets. But obviously I'll send all my briefings to Layla and she can distribute them accordingly. Sometimes you're so busy that it's just easier to make a phone call. I can see Allison smiling. It's true. We're really busy. In any case, storm cleanup went pretty well. We're getting ready for the next round. Guys are holding up okay. Going through a lot of salt and sand right now because of day melt that freezes and so on and so forth. I'm watching the snow fall off the buildings right now, so I think we'll probably be getting some day melt today, but they're on top of it. It's going well. Budget, just like everyone else, getting quotes, having a hard time really getting some of these contractors to call back, but working on it. And we're getting there. And at the same time, we're trying to close out some of last year's projects. And we're working on it, checking in with all the department heads, see what their capital needs might be for next year. I have a meeting with Jason next week. We're getting there. We are working on renovations to the delegation building right now. It was a capital project in the current fiscal year. We've ordered roofing materials in the hopes that we can coordinate with Mr. Evans and his crew to take care of that roof for us. They did one of the other buildings a few years back, and it was a huge help and a gigantic savings to the county because we only pay for the materials. So yeah, it was really, really helpful. So we're ordering up the materials for the roof and we're revising pricing for some of the other items. Prices had gone way up and they do seem to be coming down just a bit. So this might be a good time to get the materials or at least get them lined up for the ramp replacement. And there's other work that needs to be done in delegation, air conditioning, kitchen stuff, flooring, etc. So we're trying to pull it all together now and see how much we need to put out to RFP. I had a little bit of a walkthrough on Driscoll 1 with Jason Smith the other day and reviewed his vision for the hospice rooms. We're working on the little pieces that engineering and maintenance could do. We've already verified dial tone in the rooms and doing a little bit of an electrical upgrade in one of the rooms. So doing what we can to help out there. Jason Henry had asked us for 10 panic buttons for areas in the jail where they have cameras, but not necessarily communication directly with central control. And Honeywell came in yesterday. We do have cameras in all 10 areas. They're going to be giving us a proposal to put those panic buttons in. So we're moving on that. And finally, with regard to the new building, we did receive comment back this week from alteration of terrain permit that we submitted to DES. It was a 3-page reply, but the third page was just like, thank you very much. So essentially it was a 2-page reply, which we had anticipated 10 or 15 pages, frankly. And so it's a real tribute to the work and the caliber of the civil engineer that put that information together for us. One of the comments was, don't forget you have to work with Fish and Game, which we're already working on that. We've already submitted them. The mitigation plan that we had talked about, which essentially is we won't mow until August 1st for the hay. That's basically that's what we're offering them at this point. We'll see how it goes. We should be meeting with Fish and Game in the next couple of weeks. Final plans are completed, I believe today. They're going to Harvey on Monday. And the expectation is that if everything falls in place and the permits come through, we should have a GMP by March 31st. So however soon after that the commissioners are ready to sign the contract, they'll be ready to break ground the very next day. So theoretically, we could be going, you know, the 7th of April, theoretically. So things are going well. We're very busy, and thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jude.
Great year for early digging, though.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
weather-
yeah.
All the ways the weather is poor for, you know,
Yep.
getting wood chips. It's absolutely fantastic to break ground early.
Yeah, for sure.
We're gonna go.
I have a question.
Commissioner Godu, yeah.
Specifically on the GMP that you're expecting on the 31st of March. Who is gonna review that and be sure that we agree, and how much time are we gonna take? This is a 75, $1 million document that's got a lot of budget numbers in it. I would think the expectation of having it reviewed and approved within a week is pretty high expectation. It's really the document that says how much we're gonna pay.
Understood. Oh, I'm
Commissioner-
sorry, Commissioner.
Coyle.
Oh, I think that what Jude was more saying is that they're ready to go as soon as we are. And that from my perspective, it's like, once we get it, we'll do what we need to do to, you know, be comfortable. And I mean, I think everybody and maybe I'm just speaking for myself, like, you know, and this sort of leads to some old business that I was going to bring up, which is about the plan for meeting with Warren Street. But I feel like we'll just, you know, I think the point is they're ready to go when we're ready to go.
Yeah.
That was my takeaway.
And speaking of that, just to let everybody know, we have that, Jude, we have that meeting did Jonathan agree to that date?
Yes, yep, absolutely.
So on March 9th, we'll have him in.
Yep.
Okay,
And is Ron gonna join us as well from Harvey?
is it Rob or Ron?
His name's Rob.
It
Rob,
is
right?
Rob. Yes, it's Rob Prunier.
Is he joining us?
I haven't invited him, but I can if you like. I only invited Warren Street. I thought that was a discussion. I apologize.
I think that's how we discussed. We had just discussed Warren Street. I mean, we hadn't had any further discussions until now about including Rob, but I guess we'll dovetail. Commissioner Godu, you had those questions. Are we all in agreement that we're going to have? I had made a proposal via email to take up those questions after our meeting with Warren Street on the 9th. Is that the plan?
I'm fine with holding off until the 9th, but I would expect that we would have both Harvey and Warren Street there. The questions that I have involve both parties. I don't see why we would only have Warren Street. So I'd like to request that both are here, and I have a list of questions in addition to what I've already sent to everybody. I've kind of whittled them down to a little bit more of a concise list.
Okay.
But I'd like to have that discussion on that day. That's fine, but I'd like everybody there.
Yeah, let's, did you have anything else to add, Commissioner Coyle?
Just Commissioner Godu, could you kindly share your questions with the other commissioners prior to?
Sure, as soon as I'm finished with them.
All right, let's continue with, let's go continue with the department heads, and we'll rejoin this discussion under new business. I see, Kathy Stacy is here. We haven't seen her in a couple of weeks.
Hi, how's everybody?
How are you?
So I just, not too much to report. We did have a large transaction take place yesterday over in Newington, $6.1 million transaction, cash.
Wow.
$91,000 transfer tax. So
Wow.
that's, was Northeast Credit Union selling to another entity. We are in the process right now of, I had, one of my vendors, Fiddler, move one of my modules of plans, the old plans, into a new area so that we can have a project going on right now. We're going to be re-indexing because a lot of the older plans aren't indexed into the way that we index today, so that as we move forward, we want to make sure that people are able to easily access that information and it's correct. So I have staff working on that. That's going to take us a few months to do that. And other than that, it's business as usual. Thank you.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Jason Smith. Good morning.
Good morning, commissioners. Residents are very excited to be anticipating the renovation coming up for the community room. And we work very well with Wellesley Design Group on that, and the residents are really excited to be moving forward. So thank you for allowing that to happen. We had our quarterly compliance committee meeting. Everything is running and on task and schedule with our compliance program to meet the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid requirements. So everything according to the work plan is on target to date. So that's good. Just want to say thank you to Robin and the electrician who installed the TV monitors in the Singer lobby and in the main lobby area. These monitors will rotate the activity calendar, different events that are happening within the community, such as activities and special events, along with menus and some videos for marketing and such. So when guests and family members come into the community, they can see what's happening on a daily basis. So that will be a really nice feature. We recently held a resident council meeting. Residents are very satisfied with quality of care and services. There was one concern noted that they're not getting enough Oreo cookies. Apparently there is a
Make sure you get the double stuff.
I was just.
So there's a shortage of Oreo cookies 2-pack in the small containers. So we're having issues with that. So we are going to go to the store and purchase some just so the residents are happy. So we're going to work on that. And then we're having some pharmacy issues with a new pharmacy. So you know, we recently switched to this new pharmacy and it hasn't gone as well as expected. Michelle and myself are working on resolving the issues, primarily Michelle and her clinical team. But hopefully we get those things addressed here sooner than later. So other than that, Michelle?
I really don't have much to report this week. But I was going to mention that I attended resident council, and yes, overall the residents were very happy and very pleased. So that was nice to hear. And as Commissioner Okoye mentioned, we do have one resident who is positive for COVID right now, but she is coming towards the end of her quarantine type time. She'll be due to come out and about back into the community the early part of next week. And other than that, all residents are doing well. They're healthy. No major illnesses or trends throughout the unit. That's it. Thank you.
And Commissioner Coyle?
Sure, if you could indulge me for just a moment, I would love to read a letter that a family sent to Jason about the care that their loved one received. And it's nice to get these letters occasionally just because it's such hard work, and it's always a nice reminder of you know, what our collective goal is. It says, "Dear Mr. Smith, I would like to tell you how much our family appreciated the exceptional care given to David during his stay at Rockingham. Each person we encountered was kind, considerate, and caring to David and our family as well. The staff was always concerned about his comfort and tending to his needs. If he made a request, the staff responded quickly and always with a smile and pleasant demeanor. When David passed, we were told to take as much time as we needed. We had several family members who were coming and were able to spend time with him. We were very pleased with your facility and would recommend it to anyone who needed long-term care services." So it's just another reminder of all the nice work that's happening. And
Yeah.
thank you to everybody.
I thought I read that letter as well and was it was kind of a proud moment when I saw that letter. I mean, that's what really it's all about, is when you get unsolicited feedback like that, really shows and tells quite the story as to the professionalism in long-term care. So kudos to that group. That's really good to hear. I'm always happy to hear that. Thank you for sharing that letter with us. Okay, did I miss anybody? No, but now I'm gonna go to Leila to see if she's got anything that she'd like to share with either the commissioners or the department heads, anything that they need to know.
The only thing that I can think of at the moment is, regarding budgets. I got the non-county specials, updated application and instruction sheet and new dates on the website.
Great,
So that's ready to
very
go.
good. Excellent.
Thank you, Leila.
All right, I think that's it, everybody. Oh, actually, we're gonna do some new business. We're gonna see if there's any new business. What I'll do is I'll start off by asking, it is Jude, okay. They switched little boxes, I guess, but, so Jude, could you, because we didn't originally, figure on, is it Rob or Ron?
It's Rob.
Rob, can you check his availability and see if he has that time
Yes, I will.
and let the commissioners know?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any other new business that anyone would like to bring up? Allison?
Again, something was brought forward and a discussion when we were talking about the podcast and getting consents and releases to make sure of that. So I have two documents that I'd like to get legal vet on, just to make sure, because we'll incorporate those in our new hire package, but it does have a lot of, and I would go to Ranspel, Megan Jepson, Attorney Jepson over there, if you don't mind. I have two different forms that we've completed and got it, and I just would like to make sure that there's, it meets those terms and conditions of anything, for legality reasons.
Does any commissioner have any discussion or any problem with that? If not, we will let Allison do that.
Thank you.
Any other new business? I don't see anybody else's hand up. Kathy, did you have anything? All right, Commissioner Coyle?
We just have to, I think we have to retroactively approve the weather emergency.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call. You want to do that?
Points to Leila, who's always keeping us on, I don't get credit, always keeping us on track. So thank you, Leila. So I move to, I'm just gonna make sure I have the language. I mean, I state it properly. Sorry, if you can bear with me for just a moment. Okay. I move to approve the weather emergency pursuant to Personnel Policy Chapter and Procedures Chapters 8-4 for Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023, beginning at 11 p.m. or for third shift as defined by the department through Thursday, February 23rd, 2023 at 8 a.m. Or the start of first shift as defined by the department and the declared weather emergency.
Motion's been made. Seconded. On the motion, Commissioner Coyle?
Yes.
Commissioner Godu?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So thank you for that. Commissioner Godu, did you have something?
Yeah, I do have one other thing. I had a conversation with a gentleman from a company called Search Pro Systems this week. And he has an artificial intelligence program that he has employed to do recruitment. It's strictly, it's all digital, it's Google, it's beyond my full understanding. It's the same technology that Chase Banks uses to recruit and find individuals. Now, I mean, depending on how we're doing with Indeed and some of the other programs, I know there's still some extra money available for this purpose. It's very expensive. I think it's expensive. He tells me it's very cheap. But that's a matter of perspective. But bottom line, it's about $2,500 a week to make this happen. Now, it seems pretty high to me, but it also was something that was, highly innovative. And, I guess anytime this intelligence is able to identify somebody who might be looking for a job or might be talking about a particular type of position, all of a sudden it just berates them with advertisement for what our purposes are. I'm just planting that seed that there's a service like that out there, very different from the other one that I mentioned, that was based on, doing the data, to do geo-targeting. It's kind of like that on steroids. It's really, and using some artificial intelligence to actually, search the internet and find these leads.
Did you go into any detail? Like, is it a contract that you'd have to sign for a maximum amount of time or?
His suggestion is 3 to 6 months commitment to really make it work. So
But
it's
you
not
said-
what,
You said suggestion, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but is it?
I didn't get into detail with him. It was really just a casual conversation about who he was and what he did. And actually, I was talking to him about some other things for business promotion. And it led into that he did this work as well.
Yeah,
And it sounded like a great service there in Nashua. And I don't know if it seems like a lot of money, but
the AI stuff is kind of fascinating now. What's that chat GPT or whatever?
yeah.
A lot of realtors are using that to make descriptions of their listings and stuff. You're seeing more and more use of that AI stuff. So it is kind of interesting. Can you get any info for us to look
I can
at?
get more info on it. I'll share it with Allison and I'll send it to the other commissioners. At least
Perfect.
I'll send you the link to the website. We can decide whether this is, I was very impressed with the guy when I talked to him.
All right.
So
We'll do some.
he came
diving into-
recommended.
Excellent. Any other further new business? If not, we're gonna go into non-public, I believe, so we'll need a motion to go into non-public.
Move to enter non-public session.
Actually, you gotta give us the,
Colin, two, with respect to personnel matters?
I'll let Kate take care of that then.
all right, so there's a motion on the floor.
Second.
Commissioner Godu, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're going into non-public. Everybody else, thank you very much. Everybody have a good weekend.
Who's in our non-public?
Allison, anyone else that's got?
Chuck can be in them. I have
Chuck,
2 things, plus we have the wage analysis. So yes.
okay, so Allison and Chuck. So we're gonna take just a couple minute break here, real quick before we start, so if anyone needs to grab something to eat, coffee, or use the bathroom. Now is the time.
Seal the non,
Hold on, Mr. Well, okay, now we're recording, go ahead.
I move to seal the non-public minutes indefinitely because we don't have there were 2 issues and neither of them have a firm conclusion date. And they both impact personnel matters.
Motion's been made,
Second.
seconded. I'm gonna take a roll call on this. Commissioner Coyle,
Yes,
Commissioner Godu,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
and
Yes.
I move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All those in favor say
Second.
aye. Aye.
Aye.
Seconded. All right, we're adjourned. All right, enjoy that 80-degree weather out there.